So this happened to me when I was in college, and it's still one of the creepiest things that has ever happened to me to date. It was about 2 a.m., and I was awoken in my dorm room by what sounded like screams in the next room. Obviously, being a college student, I assumed it was just some drunk kids messing around again, so I went back to sleep. About an hour later, though, I was awoken again, this time by heavy footsteps near my door. I opened my door a crack and saw a girl I knew from my dorm floor walking past with a big smile on her face. She didn't say anything, and I didn't ask any questions. I just closed my door and tried to go back to sleep. But then a few minutes later, the same girl knocked on my door. I opened it, and she asked me if I had seen a girl matching her description walk past my room. I said I think I did, but I'm not sure. I was half asleep at this point, so I probably looked super unfazed and non-committal. She thanked me and walked away. I'd never been particularly close with this girl, but I remember thinking it was odd that she was asking about another girl who looked like her. I shrugged it off and went back to bed. That was when things started getting weird. At first I felt something brush up against my arm, and I assumed it was just my blanket or my sheets. Then I felt something else brush against my leg, and I opened my eyes. Sitting at the end of my bed was a girl who looked exactly like the girl who had been standing at my door earlier. She was pale as a sheet, had wild, tangled hair, was wearing clothes that were way too big for her, and had a pair of scissors in her hand. She looked down at the scissors and then raised them above her head, like she was going to attack me with them. She didn't say anything, but I don't think she needed to. I could tell exactly what she was planning on doing based on the manic grin on her face. I screamed at the top of my lungs and she lunged at me. I managed to get out of bed and run to the other side of the room before tripping over my suitcase and falling on the ground. The girl with the scissors stood over me and continued to grin, but I couldn't see her face because she was blocking it with her hands. This is where I black out. Well, not really. I just can't remember what happened next. But according to my Ra, who was called down by my screams, I apparently crawled into a corner and curled up into a ball, while the girl stood there and kept lunging at me and trying to cut me with the scissors. The Ra said that she had no idea how long we had been in there for, but that it must have been at least 10 minutes. Eventually I was able to get myself to stand up and get out of that room, and the Ra helped me call campus security. When we got back to my room, the girl was gone. The only things left behind were the pair of scissors and a note that read, "Don't worry, I'll be back." Nobody ever ended up finding the girl, and campus security just ended up tearing the note and throwing it in the trash. They said that they would keep an eye out for her, but that it was probably just some crazy person who snuck onto the floor. My RA stayed with me for a bit after this, but eventually she had to leave and go do her rounds. My parents ended up flying out to come take me home, since I didn't feel safe staying on campus. While all this was going on, I had completely forgotten about the clothes that I was wearing. I hadn't even noticed that they weren't mine. It wasn't until I was home in my own bed 2 days later that I took a good look at them. They were a girl's clothes. Whoever they had belonged to hadn't been particularly stylish, since all I was wearing was a ratty old sweater and a pair of stained sweatpants. The sweater had a hole in it, and the sweatpants were tied together with a piece of string because the drawstring was missing. What freaked me out even more was that the sweatpants were a size too small for me. The girl who had broken into my room was shorter than me and smaller than me. So why had she left these clothes in my room? I thought about this for a long time and came up with a couple of theories. Maybe she wanted me to wear them. That seemed kind of unlikely, though. Why would she want me to wear such ugly clothes? And why wouldn't she have waited till I changed into them instead of trying to attack me with scissors? Maybe she needed me to find them and put them on so that she could hide in them afterwards. I honestly don't know why I thought of this, but I'm pretty sure that I didn't do it. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I didn't do it. I remember freaking out and telling my mom everything about those clothes as soon as she came into my room. She told me not to worry about it and to try to get some rest. But I remember feeling too scared and violated to fall asleep that night. To this day, I still don't know whose clothes they were or why she had left them in my room. After my parents flew back home, I ended up returning to my dorm and finishing out the semester. Every single night I would check under my bed and in my closet before going to sleep, just in case. I didn't see her again, but I found a bunch of strange things in my room afterwards. A couple of my classmates had apparently been pranking me the entire time and had been putting these things there. It's funny now, but at the time, I was absolutely convinced that the girl was coming back to finish what she had started. If you've ever watched the movie Audition, this is basically the same scenario except in that movie. The girl hides in the closet and then jumps out and attacks the main character. After that night, I never slept with my door open again, and I always kept a flashlight beside my bed. I also made sure that I didn't have a pair of scissors anywhere in my room, just in case she did decide to come back. I've shared this story before, and most people assume that the girl was just trying to scare me, but I disagree. I think that she meant to hurt me. I honestly don't know why she would have done that, but I think that's what she was trying to do. I'm still not sure if it's better to leave your door open in college or not. On one hand, it's good to build relationships with your neighbors and make friends. On the other hand, though, doors are flimsy and don't offer much privacy. When I was in college, I decided to keep my door open because I'm super friendly and love meeting new people. However, I wish I had known about this Reddit story beforehand. So should you keep your college dorm room door open or closed? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to subscribe for more creepypasta stories. Also, if you're looking for a good book to read, then I highly recommend checking out a popular subscription service. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.